Hi Glampers, I'm Mike.
And I'm Joni.
And we are Those Who Glamp Together. Today we're here to talk about our house. Back in 2017, we sold the house we had in the suburbs here in Ohio. And we decided to build a home based on our future endeavors for travel, for retirement, for all the above. So today we're here to go over what we built. As you can see, we're standing right outside. And a little chilly indeed. It's like 17 degrees today, but we're here to reveal what we built to you. So without further ado, this is the Those Who Glamp Together home base. So today we're going to go over the aspects of what we did, how we did it, and why we did it. So come along. All right, so here we are. Really, the main reason we built this place is for the camper bay. As you can see, I got two 14-foot doors. We can come down the driveway, drive straight in, unhook, drive the truck back around and park the truck. And also when we are leaving, we just pull straight out and we got really easy access. So what we built here is a 48 by 48 garage. So we have room for our truck, our other vehicle. As you see, I got my motorcycle here. We usually just move it out of the way where the truck sits, and we can pull straight through. We do have a lot of clutter in here right now. We've just got a lot of stuff that we're still working on in the house. But for the most part, this is our camper's home. So we're on the side of the garage right now. As you notice, we put a man door in, and right above me, if you can see up there, we have put in skylight so we can get a little bit more natural light. And now the most important thing about this side of the garage is right here. I know it's hard to see, but underneath this snow, we have our drain. So we have the ability to drain our tanks after we get home. And we're in the only heated room in the garage. This is our mechanical room. Basically, this room houses our hot water heater, our house heating unit, and our water purifier. So this right here is our radiant floor system. This system heats up our slab, and it's the only way we heat our home. So if you notice on the floor, we've got lines running into the concrete, 3 coming out of the concrete, 3 going in. Those basically run through the whole floor of the house, almost like veins. And this hot water tank pumps hot water right through those veins, heats up the floor, keeps our house nice and toasty.
So here we are at my favorite place, which is the front porch. We'll go into a little bit depth here soon, but we did have an Amish crew come out and actually put the shell of the building out. And part of the Amish crew did this feature up front here. And that was one of my favorite things. And we kind of designed that with it in mind, like we had it drawn out, but they kind of just went off of what we drew. And the other thing that we did here is we installed some rain chains. Right now they're really frozen. They're kind of beautiful the way that they are, even in a frozen state. But what happens is the water runs down, and then it just kind of, instead of splashing to the ground, it just trickles nice and slow. And it's supposed to slow the water down. And this is actually, if you do some research on this, this is kind of like a Japanese tradition. And a lot of homes in Japan, you'll see these rain chains like this. And it was just one of those things I fell in love with. And I thought if I could have it, we'll have it. If we can't, we can't. But it ended up working out in the design that we have the rain chains. So we're going to just go ahead and go on inside. It's a little chilly out here. So we're just going to invite you guys in and show you a little bit of the house, give you a little tour. things that we did is we designed this kitchen along with the house. It had two different colors. We wanted that farmhouse, the country look a little bit. And then the other thing, we were in contact with like Lowe's for the countertops. These are quartz countertops. And then we did the farmhouse kitchen sink.
All right, so one of the things we decided to do in the house, with the radiant floor heat, we didn't have traditional AC units. So we didn't have any ductwork in the walls. So the only other option we had that we came upon was these units right here. These are mini split units. They are a heat pump, and they work down to about 30 degrees, but then they're an AC unit. We have two of them, one here in the kitchen that cools off the main portion of the house, and we have one in the bedroom. And the two coupled together really cooled this house down. All right, so now that we've done a quick overview of the house, we'd like to go into why we did this. So my reasonings are, we knew we wanted to travel, and we also knew that my retirement's coming up sometime within the next few years. So this home allowed us to downsize, minimize, and start working towards those goals of more travel, more ability to set ourselves up for retirement, and to protect our camper. That was the other reason of doing this. As you've seen the garage, we're able to fit our camper in there and everything else that we have as far as vehicles, motorcycles, everything. So that was my why of doing this. What about you?
And then also with the camper being in there, we can upgrade the camper size. We could go bigger, smaller. We can go to the tallest camper. So we had that in mind. So the reason why there are terms that go along with the way we built this, which is called a Barndominium or Barndo. It is literally just a generic term that people use for a metal building.
A pole barn.
And that's pretty much...
That's it.
But on the inside, it looks just like a home. But on the outside, it does have the style of what a barn looks like.
Yeah, Barndominium is basically a pole barn that we had Amish built. We subcontracted out Amish to do that. So previously, we owned a home in a town about 20 miles from here.
When we put the house up for sale, we already knew that this land was coming available for us to buy and build. So it was kind of a really quick transition. We sold in November of 17 and we bought land in February of 18. So it was kind of that quick of a transaction. And then we broke ground in May of 18.
Right.
And then we pretty much moved in at the end of, I would say December of 18. So it took us about a year.
We were the general contractors. That was one of the tasks we took on. Joni's mom and dad, who was here a lot to help us through the shell and the build of the home. Also, we had her brother available, who was a construction worker for years, and he came out and did a lot of the outside work in the yard and grading and the digging of trenches that helped us run electric wire in our drainage. So he was a very big help with that as well. So I don't want to forget those guys that helped us.
We did break ground with an excavator.
Right.
Would be the next process. But between those two processes, we had to have an architect basically draw out our building on paper.
Yeah, we drew the plans. We drew the house on grid paper, basically. And I had the dimensions in there, and we basically had to find an Ohio certified architect to draw the plans, so it would be certified for the state of Ohio. And then we was able to order everything we needed from the company that did the shell, and then we moved forward from there.
So then the excavating came into play. Right,
the excavator came out. He basically built our pad, and then dug our foundation.
And the driveway.
Well, pad, driveway, foundation, everything that the house, the land encompassing the house is on, was done then. After excavating was done, we had our concrete people came in and actually did our foundation.
The company to do the concrete, because we knew we would be living on these floors. So we wanted to make sure the concrete was done well and right.
And as big of a job as this was, there was no way the two of us could have done that job.
Yeah.
They had a team of, what, 10?
Oh,
at
easily.
least.
Yeah.
After concrete was poured, we took a weekend and we stained and then sealed the floor, because we don't have a conventional floor. We just kept the concrete. So we wanted something to do with the concrete to make it look decent but not gaudy. We didn't use a gloss coat on it like we've seen in many of the advertisements we looked at of the insulation and vapor barriers underneath. I did two different types. We did the 2-inch foam board, and then I ordered a double-sided reflective bubble seal that we used as well. So that actually came with the radiant floor system that I bought. The county we live in would not allow us to use that alone, so that's why we doubled up some of the restrictions. So that added to our cost that we didn't prepare for, but in the end we saved money with everything else in the end. So just a little Swiffer and just run through it. It just picks everything up and it looks good. So for after concrete, well, before the concrete was poured, we had a plumber come in as well to lay the lines, because they are buried inside the concrete as well. And then after the concrete was done, the shell came up. That's when they came out and built the shell. Like Joni said earlier, it took around 3 months for the shell. So, but after that, after the shell went up, then our work began. We started, we framed the home. I think that took us a week, 2 weeks maybe. 2 weeks to do all the framing. And then after we got all the framing done, we had that inspection taken care of. Then we started running all our electrical. We did the main line. Then we ran every room. We ran all the lines for that. And for people not knowing how to do electricity, we did have a friend that told us what we needed to do. And then he would come in and look at it after we did it. We would do a room. He would say, "Yep, do that for all the other rooms." Then he taught us how to run a triple switch and all the other things that go along with it. Then he showed us how to wire our outlets, because when you wire them in series, they go a little different. And that was quick, actually. I think it was about 2 weeks.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it was a couple weeks as well. But we worked like dogs on that one. I mean, long hours doing that. While I was at work, I would come home and Joni would have a whole room run. So after electrical, we had to have that inspected.
And then we went from electrical and kind of almost layered with the electrical insulation.
We kind of did both at the same time. And we left the insulation out where the inspector needed to see electrical. But other than that, we tried to do as much at the same time as we could.
The next phase would
after we got inspected for our insulation, then we started hooking up all of our electrical outlets, our switches, our electrical panel, because the first inspection was we using the correct wire size, that is. So after that inspection, we finished all the electrical. They came in and inspected that. So after electrical, we started drywall. That was the worst. Roughly 6 to 8, maybe 9 weeks of doing drywall. We started hanging the drywall, and this is where her parents came in and helped us tremendously. We have 10-foot ceilings, so to hang that, I had to buy a lift, a jack, basically a drywall lift. Her mom came in so handy with the measurements on these can lights, because we got 44 can lights in the house, and we had to cut basically on every piece of drywall. We at least had one can light, maybe 2 at times.
I thought drywall was actually not that bad in comparison to the mudding.
Well, then we had to mud the drywall. And
I thought that was worse. But that's just something that I think physically and mentally, emotionally, we were exhausted by this point.
Spent by that time,
It was like no more videoing, no more pictures. We were kind of like at the end of it. Our bank said that everything had to be to the degree that it was move-in ready. So turnkey is what they call it. And it was a rush to, we hung tile in the bathroom, trim had to be up. And these were all just these little things that was going to take days to do.
And another shout out to her parents, because they did all the trim while we were at work.
They did.
because she would have to work during the day, I would have to work during the day, so they would come up here and they did all of our trim for us. So I'm thankful for that as well.
Yeah, I think and even like my mom would have dinner in the refrigerator for us. So when we got out of here during the night, we go eat.
We just heat it up and eat and go to bed.
It was just like a vicious cycle. But long story short, yes, it was worth it because now we have this home and it is beautiful and we really enjoy being here.
Yep. We're going to go through this because if we don't, somebody will ask. We don't really want to, but this is the ugly truth.
Yeah.
We've itemized the cost. So just the land itself was roughly about $25,000. Land prep and septic, $30,000. Our shell was $69,000. Our well was $7,500. Our concrete was roughly $30,000. Kitchen, we've spent roughly $8,500 on the whole kitchen. Framing was about $1,500. Electrical, roughly about $4,000. Our radiant floor was a $3,500 unit. Our mini splits, we've spent $2,400 on. Insulation, roughly $3,000 because of our attic as well. Drywall, about $4,500, and then our plumber was just over $7,000. So I think that is it.
A couple little things we had questions about, which we kind of want to go over, was this worth doing? Cost-wise, I would say we were probably about the same. You know, what we left to what we came to, but we have set ourselves up to be debt-free by the time he is going to be retired. So if we have any debt at all, it'll just be...
Camper debt.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Camping debt.
But one of the things that we did with this building is we tried to buy everything that was like high efficiency. So our electric bill has saved us tremendously in comparison to our traditional home.
I think we were over $100 a month in our previous home, and now we're pushing $50 a month. So we cut our electric bill in half. We talk about we built this for our retirement. So what is that going to look like for us? I think in our very first video we talked about our vision of camping. To us, this is our home base. My daughter and her family live about 20 minutes away, and for me, it's going to be, we're going to be here as much as we want to see our grandkids and see my daughter and her husband, but we're also going to take off and go for maybe 3-4 months at a time. We don't know. I mean,
so what we're going to do is we'll just kind of open it up. If you guys want to make some comments, ask questions, we'll try to answer them as much as we can. We try to put it all in here, but we know that there'll be some questions and we'll try to answer them. So other than that, we'll see you guys next time.
Happy glamping.